The bees are dying, and our survival hangs in the balance. In the past year, over 70% of U.S. bee colonies, more than 1.1 million hives, were lost, marking the worst collapse on record. At 4RBs, we're fighting back with our breakthrough PureWave cell, a quantum frequency device crafted with 48,000 Gauss rare earth magnets in the shape of the flower of life. When placed inside a beehive, it delivers remarkable results. Colonies grow 2 to 3 times larger, honey production soars, pesticide and antibiotic use drops to zero, colony collapse nearly vanishes, and queen replacements plummet. Every purchase also supports our beekeeper program, providing free PureWave cells to small beekeepers worldwide. Rebuilding life one hive at a time. Join the fight today and buy a jar of PureWave honey, or even one of the cells used by the beekeepers. Use code WITF for 20% off at 4rbs.com. And if you're listening on audio only, that's the number 4, letter R, bees.com.
Where in the Folk is not and should not be viewed as a news source. Any names, places, or likenesses mentioned are purely fictional, and any information discussed is purely speculative. Guest opinions are their own and do not reflect those of anyone else. Where in the Folk is not responsible for content accuracy of any stories that are told or what people do with these stories. This show is vulgar, sometimes graphic, and due to its content, it should not be viewed by anyone actually.
Welcome to another episode of Where in the Folk. We are late, so we're just going to jump right in. And Morgana's got a Friday feel good to kick us off. We definitely need a feel good.
Okay, it's really not a feel good per se, but it's kind of funny. So, in Billings, Montana, a cloud of smoke from 2 pounds of methamphetamine seized by the FBI and incinerated inside a Montana animal shelter prompted its evacuation and sent workers to the city hospital. I guess that was the only incinerator maybe they had in the area, but said, yeah, the smoke started to fill the building during the burn. And because of the negative pressure, it sucked it back inside. And there was supposed to be a fan on hand in case such a thing happened. And it wasn't readily available when they got ready to do this. But said that the incinerator is primarily used for carcasses of, euthanized animals and those collected by animal control. But said every couple of months, local law enforcement or FBI use it to burn seizure narcotics. So 14 workers ended up in the hospital as a precaution. The dogs and cats were relocated and put into foster homes. Some workers said they weren't feeling well, but they said they didn't know if it was from smoke irritation or inhalation or just the situation in and of itself. So
that's crazy.
Yeah, it is. But I have one other one, and this one's just a weird one. Okay.
Hey, Landa. Hey, Crystal.
Hey, ladies. How's it going? So rabbits with horns are being found in Colorado, and they're calling them Frankenstein bunnies. Now, I've got to get you a picture of this because it's
like a jackalope.
They think this may be where the jackalope.
You can't tell me that jackalopes are real.
Comes from. Wait till I get this up and show you this. You might be surprised.
Yeah, Linda, I turned it back on. We have this on sometimes. I just have to turn it off sometimes if we get too many people joining. Hey, Alan.
Now look at this.
Well, that looks like a mutant.
I know, right? But hang on. There's another one down here too. Look at that. Is that not insane?
Yeah.
But here's the thing, said that this is caused by a very common virus. So let me unshare this so I can read. So, all right. It's a relatively common virus. It's called the Shope papillomavirus, and it causes wart-like growths that protrude from the face, and they look like horns. So the first picture was from several years ago, but the second one was actually from August of this year, and said that they're calling them Frankenstein bunnies, demon rabbits, zombie bunnies, because like I said, they don't know what it is, but said that it's been inspiring stories for over 100 years in the area, but said that they're pretty sure that probably influenced the jackalope myth in North America.
That is just wild.
Isn't it?
I've never seen that.
Me either. And all I can figure is, people must have seen them and spotted them and called them the jackalopes. And then somebody brought something in.
Yeah.
And said, okay, here's what we've got. So crazy.
Yeah, that is crazy.
Hey, if I go outside and my bunnies look like that, they got to go.
Yes. Yeah.
We've got 6 of them. And no, that's just, okay, that's when I'm done with bunnies.
Yeah, that ain't good for nobody.
No, not at all. So, and
yeah.
So, like I said, not really feel good per se, but better than the depressing stuff we normally talk about.
True. Speaking of depressing stuff that we normally talk about, we were talking before the show. The one thing that we're not going to get into tonight is just the Charlie Kirk stuff, just because it's getting literally beat to death, and it's an evolving story. There's a lot of moving parts. I think what everybody can hopefully agree on, regardless of your political beliefs, is that it's absolutely terrible that a non-politician got murdered. I mean, it'd be terrible if it was a politician, but a civilian got murdered because of a difference of belief. And I think what we all need to remember is, regardless of what side of any of that kind of stuff you're on, everybody thinks that they're right.
Mm-hmm.
It's everybody's truth that they're correct. And that's okay. Like we live in a world where we don't all have to agree. And we are fortunate enough to, for now, live in a country that we're all allowed to have these vocal discussions and disagreements and freedom to talk about these things. So I think the only thing that I have to say about it, at least, is that I hope that going forward that this never happens again, and that we can continue on with the spirit of what this place was supposed to be.
Yeah. And yeah, exactly. And as we were talking before, like you said, and my thing is, if you don't want to listen to something or you don't like something, change the channel, walk away.
Yeah.
I actually I always put, a thing about 9/11 up, but today I actually posted something about 9/12. I would love for us to go back to the country where we were on 9/12, not 9/11. No, we should never have to go through that again, but just people helping each other and coming together. We were truly one nation.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I think a big thing, like, we're sitting here preaching a positive message, which is vastly different. Just if you just turn on the TV, you're not going to find any channel that's preaching a positive message. It's all, for the last 10 years or more, it's spewing hate, spewing division. And I think that's how you end up with radicals on either and or a third party, for that matter. And I keep saying this, and I'll keep saying it for the next 10 years. All this kind of stuff's doing is creating a pocket for the most radical person since World War II to take foothold in culture, because people are going to get so fed up on both sides with the lack of accountability and lack of any truth in news reporting. Or, maybe they do think it's the truth, but then it comes out a year later that it was all just, a boogeyman. Yep. Like everything has. for the last little bit in history, but all it's going to take is just to keep like people getting fed up, just keep at it, like keep with the psychological warfare and stuff. And I'm telling you, you can mark my words, we'll come back to this in 10 years, and you're going to be like, how did this person get elected?
Mm-hmm. Well,
And
we'll probably be in jail.
True. But we'll be sitting in jail being like, how did this person get elected?
Yes.
And it's going to be somebody that has the most radical belief systems and that you've ever heard of, like something that, would make World War II look like child's play.
Yeah. Well, like I said, radicalization on either side is bad.
Yes.
I mean, there's no room for it.
Yes.
So, like I said, we tell you all the crappy stuff going on in the world, but
we would never
end of the day
call you to violence, like
right?
Or don't let anybody call you to violence. I don't care who it is.
Exactly. So,
with that said,
good TED Talk.
We do have some crazy news. I don't know I'll let you pick what you want to get into first.
Okay, hang on one second. I like this one. This is absolutely insane.
Who's a flat earther? Who's a flat earther?
I think she's saying that's the radicalization.
Oh, yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. A flat earther is going to take control and we're going to nuke Antarctica.
Right. Or the moon. I heard recently that they were wanting to do that.
Yeah. Actually, we could drag the moon into Antarctica.
Oh, there you go. We could put the moon back where it popped off from all those millions of years ago.
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
cool. All right. So
that's funny,
back
Crystal.
on the 9th, the House Oversight Subcommittee hearing on unidentified anomalous phenomena, UAPs, I still hate that word, featured a never-before-seen video presented by Representative Eric Burleson of Missouri, showing a U.S. military Hellfire missile fired by an MQ-9 Reaper drone, striking a glowing, fast-moving orb off the coast of Yemen on October the 30th of 2024.
I've got a video I can pull up for this.
Oh, okay, cool.
Hang on.
All right. So the footage was captured by another drone, and it reveals that the missile appears to be bouncing off the unidentified object.
Check this out. So this is the UFO. That's the missile. That's the missile. Boom. Off the UFO. So here's all I'm going to say. There's some fishy stuff here.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not your traditional, this is more like the orbs they were talking about.
Right.
But this could literally be a Canadian goose.
Yes, it could.
But that said, let me just break down what they're saying in this article. So a Reaper drone shoots a Hellfire missile. Now that's all cool language. I think they do this stuff on purpose. A Reaper drone fires a Hellfire missile at a UFO and it bounces off. Mm-hmm. Well, if you go to Google and put in Hellfire missile, it's going to tell you that a Hellfire missile is a air to surface or surface to surface missile. And my question is, if they were sending a Reaper drone to shoot at a UFO, why would they not use an air to air missile?
Yes, you're right.
And it's these little tidbits in all these congressional hearings like this that just make you wonder. I mean, there's not really an answer for that. I mean, I'm sure they could say, well, Hellfire's all we had.
Right. We sent all the rest of it overseas, Tully.
Yeah, well, the rest of us overseas. That's all we had left in the backyard.
That's right.
But yeah, it looks like they just blew up a goose. Like you could see the feathers coming off of it.
I want to know how big a Hellfire missile is.
Big. Yeah. A Hellfire missile is
it's pretty good size then. So, compared to a goose, Tully, is what I'm asking.
But yeah, if you Google Hellfire missile, it will bring up that it is a surface to surface or air to surface missile. It just doesn't make any sense to shoot it at a UFO, in my opinion.
Right. Because, and I would assume that from the looks of it, that was pretty damn high up too.
Okay, it's not as big of a missile as what I thought. It's only let me see. Well, here's one next to a person. Hang on.
Mhm.
My computer is not wanting to cooperate. Let's see. Da 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 da.
Well, I mean, that's significantly bigger than a goose.
Yeah, it's bigger than a goose, but
Mhm.
I mean, think about like if you're witnessing horrors beyond human comprehension in the sky,
Uh-huh.
are you going to shoot this little dud at it, or are you going to like if you were witnessing horrors beyond human comprehension in the sky, are you
Yeah.
gonna
That's
shoot
just
like a
piss it off, is what you're saying.
yeah? Are you gonna shoot a pebble at it, or are you gonna let something loose like some kind of thermonuclear missile or like a tannerite missile or something? Like
There
you know what I
go.
mean? Like,
I was going to tell you now that the tannerite, the idiots across the street do sometimes, I think would take that one out.
yeah,
I mean, it has literally knocked stuff off of my walls and busted a window in my house.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
So,
and all of this stuff, it seems like they really wanted to flood the news this week, and I think toward the end of the show we'll do a sort of recap on everything that's going on in Europe and the Middle East. And I
Yeah.
think that may be why they wanted to flood everything this week. But it right after the shooting missiles at UFOs in Congress, we had that the incoming alien warship that the Harvard professor says is coming in November. They now say that thing has changed colors, and that it's now green. And NASA's saying this. The Atlas Survey Telescope in Chile. But yeah, so this thing, I think by the end of the month, by the end of September, well, yeah, I'm sure if it was a real UFO, it probably would have just like disappeared or something. Like I don't know.
yeah. And I would hope on this alien warship that they would have enough cloaking ability that a scientist could not just say, hey, that's an alien warship coming at us.
Yeah. Yeah. Hostile alien satellite or whatever he said.
Right.
But
so I also think it's really interesting that for something that's that far out, that they can tell you the makeup of what it is.
Yes.
You know, how light scatters moving from the reddish surface dust to bright icy grains, you know, giving it a green tint, and it has traces of carbon monoxide, water alongside nickel and cyanide. I'm like, how the hell do they know that?
They don't. They don't. It's just all like with a lot of NASA stuff. It's almost like they have to have experts throw these things out and speculate just to justify their, what do we say, $67 million a day that they spend?
Yeah.
And that kind of plays into like the same day that shooting happened, like hours before, NASA comes out on TV, on live television, and has a press conference to say that there's life on Mars now, or that they think that there's life on Mars.
They're excited but cautious.
Excited but cautious. They say they uncovered potential biosignatures in rock samples named Sapphire Canyon. They say the region was once home to an ancient river and lake, and it was collected in July 2024. The announcement has sparked excitement and caution as NASA avoids claiming definitive proof of life. But yeah, that and now they're saying that return missions to Mars to validate this could face a lot of delays, though, due to cost and logistical challenges. They get $67 million a day. shoot a rocket with a buggy to Mars. I mean, come on.
Come on, they're just waiting for Elon to do it next year.
They could take, Elon can take his $1 trillion bonus and put it with their multi-billion-dollar yearly salary and send a buggy to another planet.
Yeah.
It's as easy as with a claw machine attached to it.
Right.
Grab a scoop of stuff and
Bring it
come back. Yeah. There's your $1 trillion.
Yep. Okay. See, I can get behind that.
That's so
Because
stupid.
I'm the
That whole
person
thing
who,
is so stupid.
and I definitively believe this. No normal person can ever spend $1 billion in a lifetime.
I probably could.
Unless you are spending it on shit like rockets that explode after 10 seconds.
I'd figure out like a setup to harvest that gold from the volcano in Antarctica.
Yeah. Okay. I can get behind that. At least we know that gold is real, you know, that it actually exists. We know this.
Yeah.
But, you know, my thing is, like I said, there are so many other more important things that we need to be doing in this world, you know.
Yeah. I would go to like Sudan and recruit an army to take and conquer Antarctica, actually.
There you go. Get them to stop infighting. Get them down there.
Yeah. We would go lock the volcano down.
I do want to say with a sad heart that I did not win the $1.7 trillion that was won this week.
Was it any CIA operatives? What states was it?
It was Missouri and Oregon, I think, were the two that got the big money.
Okay.
So, you know, but yeah, I was sad for just a minute, you know, because I based my entire rest of my life on winning that.
True.
But no, it's where can I dig a hole and hide from everybody is the only thing I'm looking for. You'll be hearing me from one of those trailers with the static in the background. And now, before they find my location, you know, we're going to talk about this.
Yeah.
So,
this is a good. The honey. I forgot.
Yes.
There's the honey. I can't get it to
honey.
focus. This honey is amazing. I've had like a cold, and just eating a little bit of this every day is significantly helped my throat. But yeah, order you some honey. I'm going to let Morgana read.
I'll get that next one. Yes, I meant to tell you that earlier, but I didn't want to interrupt. So my bad.
So I'm just going to leave this picture up while Morgana starts to talk about this stuff.
Yes. So September the 6th, so 6 days ago, Pierce County Sheriff's Office in Washington State arrested a 13-year-old boy in Clover Creek, potentially preventing a school shooting after tips about his threatening behavior led to a raid on his home. Authorities seized 23 firearms, many of which lacked serial numbers, alongside loaded magazines inscribed with school shooter writings, clothing, and materials suggesting a planned mass shooting. Deputy Carly Capetto emphasized the severity of the plot, noting the teen's obsession with past school shooters and the accessibility of the unsecured arms which were mounted on walls or scattered throughout the home. The teen, not currently enrolled in school, but previously at Franklin Pierce District in 2021, faces charges including attempted threat to bomb or injure property and unlawful possession of firearms. Neighbors expressed shock at the teen's arsenal, with investigators noting that the plot's advanced planning, though the intended target remains unclear. The ongoing investigation continues to explore how the boy obtains the weapons, and with no charges filed against his parents.
Well, okay. Back to the billionaire comment. So if you gave me $1 billion and said, go buy whatever you want to, and I'm 13 years old, where am I going to buy guns? Like this, first of all. And then secondly, how am I going to get guns that aren't registered? How am I going to get guns that don't have serial numbers? It don't matter how much money I've got, but as a 13-year-old child, how does a 13-year-old child, I could go, I mean, think about it. Who could you ask, even if you wanted one gun that was not tied to you?
Mm-hmm.
Who do you know that you could just go ask and get a gun without a serial number that isn't tied to
Yeah.
you?
Yeah. Especially at 13 years old.
This is, to me, like, and this was almost completely buried in the news, by the way.
Mhm.
Like,
Yep.
if you aren't like looking for this story,
Yep.
it's going to be completely buried because there's something extremely wrong with this story.
Yep.
This isn't your middle of the mall school shooter.
Mm-hmm.
This isn't I stole my parents' firearms. Exactly, Stephen. It doesn't pass the smell test.
Well, and here's another thing, because like I said, I went and looked for this one too after you sent stuff this morning, because I'm like, I totally missed that one. And like I say, there's not a lot out there about it. You know, you have to be very specific.
And I was like, if you zoom in on them,
Mm-hmm.
these
there are
also
lasers on that one in the front.
these
To the
also,
left.
because when I was looking, some of the articles was like, some of these guns could be 3D printed. I've seen 3D printed machined weapons before.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And these do not like you can go to YouTube and just look up
Mm-hmm.
3D printed weapons. They do not look like this.
No, they don't.
I think
They
the 3D printed story was just like, how do we CYA?
Yes. And I really honestly, I've only seen a couple because it's just not something I've ever really looked for. The ones that you do with 3D printing look fake.
Yes.
I mean, they do. They look like a kid's toy.
And even if you manage to get the uppers for the 3D printed guns, you're still like, they will melt.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like
Yes.
they're not reliable guns. You can watch people on YouTube just put shooting a 3D printed weapon into YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
And you'll see what I mean. Like they're not fit for that kind of activity, but also how's a 13-year-old kid going to carry all these guns?
Right. Well, here's the other thing, because they said that the accessibility, and they were mounted on walls and scattered throughout the home, but then they turn around and say that exploring how he obtained the weapons with no charges filed against his parents. Now, either they were in the house all over the place and his parents should be sitting in jail too, or they weren't. What in the hell? Oh, sorry. But, or it sounds like it's raining in my house. So like I said, either the parents had the guns there and he had access to them, or they didn't. It can't be both ways.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Well, even that, like, if there's all these guns without serial numbers, the father, even if they don't think it's the kid, somebody needs to be like, hey, were you getting guns without any serial numbers?
Absolutely.
Like that could lead to like cartel or anything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it was a complete nothing burger in the news, like just swoop.
So, and here's my other thing too, who gave them the tips about his threatening behavior that led them to raid the home? I mean, that to me is kind of off also, because like I said, if he doesn't go to school, then it's not like he's talking about it to his friends. Just an opinion. I could be totally wrong.
No, I agree. And all these shootings and stuff lately, where it's almost like they're being fanatical, like they're inscribing stuff on the magazines and bullets and all of this.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, is there like a youth Discord server of crazy people out there? You know what I mean? That are just like,
I've been on a couple of Discord servers, and maybe
I don't know. I just like, is there a Roblox server somewhere that's like producing these people? I don't know.
Right. Well,
it's terrifying.
Was it a Black Mirror episode, or it was crap. What was the name of that series? There was one, it was on Channel 1. It was like 4 seasons. And on one of them, the kids were watching TV and it was like subliminal. and it was
Yeah.
telling them to do all this stuff.
Yes.
You know.
Yeah. I know.
So
I know what you're talking about.
yeah. So maybe there's another reason you should be kind of peeping in on your kids to see what they're watching and doing when
Yes.
you've got the electronics babysitting them.
Now, look, I do understand that it's not all on the parents. Like if you've got
No, it's
like a
not.
20-year-old shooter, like yeah, I had a boss once that said children are like dogs. You can raise them all the same and they all turn out different.
That is correct.
And you could have somebody that that tried to instill like good belief systems in their child and stuff like that, but then they get radicalized, just like we were talking earlier about just crazy nonsense brainwashing techniques. And they end up doing something crazy that ruins not only their life, but lives of others.
Oh, yeah. And you're right. I mean, like I said, because I've known awesome parents that have crappy kids, and I've known awesome kids that had crappy parents.
Yes.
You know, I mean, so I do believe that, you know, there is some nurture involved and some nature involved, you know, I mean, but like I said, you know, life does have an impact on how people turn out. And Land of Channel 1 is actually a British channel. I just happened to find it on Netflix, and that's where it originated from.
We're gonna have to pick up the pace if we want to make it.
Okay.
If we want to make it through these.
Okay. So
just kind of let's start hitting them higher level.
Okay.
I think.
All right. So Irina Zarutska, 23-year-old Ukrainian refugee, had fled to the U.S. to escape the war in her home country. Was fatally stabbed. Yeah. She was stabbed in Charlotte while on a light rail train by DeCarlos Brown Jr., a 34-year-old man with a history of mental illness. In a chilling jailhouse phone call to his sister, Tracy Brown, obtained by media outlets, Brown claimed he killed her because he believed she was reading his mind, a delusion tied to his diagnosed paranoid schizophrenia. Surveillance footage shows her unaware of him sitting behind her, scrolling through her phone before he abruptly attacked her with a knife, stabbing her multiple times, including in her throat, in an assault that lasted just a few seconds. He's got a lengthy criminal record, including robbery and assault. He was homeless and has expressed beliefs that the government had planted a chip in his body, which just further evidences his severe mental health issues. And, you know, rightly so, this has sparked widespread outrage and raised questions about our mental health care.
Yeah, if he was that bad off,
he shouldn't have been out.
Yeah. Well,
you know,
and the big thing, like I said, this was already a big story, but the claiming that she was reading his mind thing was like a new development, I believe.
Yes, it was.
Awful story.
Yep. And, you know, I know I was, when I was reading it, that they had commented that, what was it? Oh, that nobody did anything. But if you watch the video, and I don't necessarily recommend watching the video because it is very graphic.
Yeah, we've got enough gore this week.
Yes, it happened so quick. I don't know that anybody had the time to react like some people are just, well, somebody should have done this or that to prevent it. I think that part of it happened too fast. I don't think anyone could have prevented it, you know, from happening. Now, that still doesn't make it okay that he was out, you know.
It's really sad because she, you know, she's a refugee. Like she was trying to escape war and terror. And
Yep,
it was horrible. But, you know, I think our system also failed him. He should have never been out to begin with.
Yep. Like I said, that particular story is terrible on all sides.
Or I guess it failed him and her.
Exactly. Like I said, she should have been, you know, felt safe here. Obviously she felt safe here. That's why she was here. And anybody that is that dangerous should not be around people.
No.
You know,
well, and Landa said that he attacked his sister and she dropped the charges. I don't think that should be allowed. No. Like you know what I mean?
I agree.
I think it should be documented.
Yes. If they attack somebody to the point where the police have to be called, the police should take them in and let them be, you know, like I said, put him in a home, you know, put him in, you know, somewhere that he can get treatment. Even if she wants to drop the charges. I realize that's your brother, but, you know, help him.
sometimes dropping charges is worse
Yes.
for them.
Because look where we're at now.
Yes.
Okay. So you got the next one?
Let's see. I'm skipping.
Okay.
I'm going to skip some.
Okay.
We'll come back if we have time, but I wanted to hit the Nepal stuff too, because that was crazy this week. Again, like the craziest week ever in news, or at least one of them. There's pictures of Nepal's equivalent of the White House on fire because of protests related to them taking down social media. And that's way oversimplifying it, but Nepal's prime minister resigned and fled the country over violent protests sparked by a short-lived social media ban. It was short-lived because there was like 20 people killed, I think, close to 20, in violent protests. But basically, they're saying that they took down all the social media because it fuels conspiracy theories.
Right.
And Gen Z was like, get all the way out of here with that, and took to the streets. But even though that the PM resigned, a lot of people are still demonstrating just to hopefully stop them from doing it again. There were some social media companies that complied and shut down. There were other ones that they forced the government to shut them down. But for a little bit, other than the news, Nepal was in like a social media blackout.
Right.
Completely.
You know, and the thing is, Buddhism in Nepal is that is a large percentage of the people there. They are generally associated with peace and compassion, nonviolence, and for very good reason, because the majority of its core teachings emphasize avoiding harm. But like any other religion or philosophy, you know, there have been, you know, times that they have backed war regimes and violence and political movements and stuff like that. So the first time I remember back 3 or 4 years ago over in Myanmar, the Buddhist leaders were literally persecuting Muslims that were just living there in peace. You know, I mean, they were not violent, nothing. And they just moved in and started taking them out. And, you know, that's unusual when you're not mentally prepared for it. Because I'm going to be Buddhist.
That's a lot of religions. Religions are not friendly of other religions for the most part.
That is a very true
they
statement.
are until they got to be in the same room together or live together.
Yes. That's it.
But that was one of the things going on in the Middle East. There was, let's see, the UK had a breakthrough this week. I guess it was late last week into this week. The UK government foreign secretary concluded that there is no genocide going on the Gaza Strip, because it requires it says by the 1948 Genocide Convention, it requires intent to destroy in whole or part a national, ethnic, racial, or religious group, and UK found no evidence of such intent. They're saying that everything they've done was prompted by Hamas's October 7th attack that killed 1,200 people and took 251 hostages. Even though they have the most advanced intelligence structure on the planet.
Yeah.
And there's no footage. There's no footage of that event, to my knowledge.
Nope.
We're not saying it didn't happen. It probably was terrible, but they probably let it happen. Honestly, like a Pearl Harbor. But despite acknowledging the appalling civilian suffering and over 64, so there's been 64,000 deaths, and that's only what's been reported.
Yep.
So and a lot of them's children. There's a good percentage of that 64,000 that's women and children that are not Hamas.
And the really sad part of that is a lot of those women and children are starving to death.
And the problem here is you could say, well, Hamas shouldn't have started it if they didn't want so and so to finish it. Well, that's like saying, what happened, like we were talking at the beginning of the show. It's like if you decide that one individual or one group of terrorists represent your whole ideology just because they're semi-affiliated with your ideology, that you're going to end up with a warlord. Like that's what's going to happen. You can't categorize a whole group of people just like Iraq or Afghanistan. We didn't categorize the whole country as terrorists. We went in and found the terror.
Mhm.
And in this case, nobody's going in to find the terror. They're leveling the whole city. There's 36 hospitals that's been bombed to death. They went in to film it, and they killed the reporters.
The reporters.
But they also conducted multiple airstrikes this week. On the 9th, they got in deep trouble over a bombing they did in Qatar. They say that some Hamas people were killed, but they killed some kids with that too. They said one of the kids was a Hamas's son. But yeah, it seems like every week we're hearing about something like this, and the only people condemning it are people who are over there, like Saudi Arabia.
Mhm.
I think actually the United Emirates came out after the Qatar bombing and was like, whoa, like you need to chill out. And it's in the midst of all this that we have crazy stuff happening over here the same day or the
Mhm.
day after, like when people are heated and talking about it. And the very next day, the EU president comes out
Yeah.
and starts talking about battle lines being drawn.
Mhm.
Which, I'm sure that, like they were talking about threats from Russia, blah, blah, blah. And
Chinese aggression.
I mean, if you looked at her or listened to her speech, if you go back and listen to it, it's terrifying. Like she's talking about that we're on the brink of another global health crisis. And I don't know, like some of the stuff. And it actually, that part in particular, if you go look up or she starts talking about global health crisis, and you know how like docile people in the EU are,
Mhm.
when she starts talking about that, you can audibly hear people go like, what are you talking about? Like just start screaming and stuff. And they have to
Mhm.
quiet everybody back down.
Yeah.
But she's like, I mean, Europe's the size of Texas.
Mhm.
And they're beating their chest, acting like they're about to arm themselves and go to war with everybody. And
Yeah.
you know what's going to happen? It's exactly what's happening in the Middle East right now. They're going to start bombing people and then be like, well, we need your help.
Mhm.
And
But hey, here's the thing, and I know this may not be popular, but it's working for Israel. I
it
mean,
is.
we're doing half the work for them.
Well, and that's the problem here is that we shouldn't be doing that for anybody.
No.
What I think, if the conflict's between two countries, those two countries need to handle their stuff.
That's right.
They don't need a foreign mediator to bomb on their behalf or negotiate on their behalf. Let
Mhm.
them deal with it. Um,
Yes.
Especially when we're all of us are indentured servants already. We pay 40% of our income toward what we believe is to help
Mhm.
our own infrastructure and stuff. But nothing. You look at the last 10 years,
Mhm. The roads around here suck.
prices on everything have went up. The housing market's never going to recover.
Mhm.
Auto is out of control. Which the auto thing, I think we watched a video about this. I attribute the auto thing to the Cash for Clunkers program.
Mhm.
If you could point at one thing in history that made cars unaffordable or like extreme prices to where you don't have, like, teenagers can't just go get a $2,000 car that's reliable
Oh
anymore.
no.
And I think Cash for Clunkers did that.
Mhm.
But but yeah, it's not all bad. We've got bunnies with horns.
Okay, I told you a few weeks ago I was going to send you a story for you to read, and then I forgot to send it to you again.
Okay.
So I'm just going to tell you what the story is.
Okay.
Male penises are larger now.
That's the feel good.
There you go.
Or the not feel good, depending on your preference.
So, there you go. Depends. But I love the way they put, and the story actually said this, that male penises are larger.
Stop it. I'm not even going to touch that, metaphorically or physically.
Don't.
And on that note, thank you for watching us. We're gonna be live in about 10 minutes on the Weird Realities Network, Weird Awakenings, talking about all the weird, crazy, strange stuff in Texas.
Yes.
The state of Texas, not any geopolitical crazy.
No, hell no.
We're getting off that for the evening. But everybody just, keep your head on a swivel. The world's getting crazy. Love your neighbor. Love each other.
And watch your back.
Watch your back. And if you don't already follow us, give us a follow. If you're watching on BitChute, BitChute's being weird, so we're a week lag on BitChute. So if you're watching there, go follow us on Rumble so that you can comment live with us. Anywho, thank you for watching us. We'll be back. Peace.
The bees are dying, and our survival hangs in the balance. In the past year, over 70% of U.S. bee colonies, more than 1.1 million hives, were lost, marking the worst collapse on record. At 4RBs, we're fighting back with our breakthrough PureWave cell, a quantum frequency device crafted with 48,000 Gauss rare earth magnets in the shape of the flower of life. When placed inside a beehive, it delivers remarkable results. Colonies grow 2 to 3 times larger, honey production soars, pesticide and antibiotic use drops to zero, colony collapse nearly vanishes, and queen replacements plummet. Every purchase also supports our beekeeper program, providing free PureWave cells to small beekeepers worldwide. Rebuilding life one hive at a time. Join the fight today and buy a jar of PureWave honey, or even one of the cells used by the beekeepers. Use code WITF for 20% off at 4rbs.com. And if you're listening on audio only, that's the number 4, letter R, bees.com.